going on, guys? Back with another video, working on Bella's 80. First thing I want to do is clean up this absolute monstrosity of a mess that is the back seat, because hopefully later on this episode we'll be pulling these seats out, or at least folding them up and pulling the carpet back to access the fuel pump, so we can start swapping that out, upgrading the wiring to the front, redoing the relay and all that jazz. But before any of that starts, I need to get rid of this shit, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Few moments later.
Alright, so got a back seat again. So like I was saying before, should be able to, I forget how these things work, these are down here. That seat's in the way, but essentially if I lift this up, yeah, that's the edge of the carpet there. I pull this carpet back, and right here-ish is the fuel pump access panel, which is nice. So I don't have to rip the rear drawers out, because I would have not done that. I would have dropped the tank before ripping the floor, the whole drawer system out. But at least we can get that. There we go. But I also got the front end. The 80 series have a weird glove box, so they actually like sit in, like there's, oh, I'll walk around and show you, but this side's empty. This is all paperwork, like our instruction manuals and stickers, all the important stuff, of course. But yeah, these are, like, I haven't literally just clipped this in. As you can see, all the stuff falls out. It's just sitting on the bottom, and then as you saw me so graciously showcase the fully functioning glove box. It's just there to keep it out of the way, so don't lose it. You already saw through here. But now I'm just shifting my focus to, I'm going to pull this airbox out, because currently you got all this garbage here. But it looks like I can move the fuse block back to this corner, possibly. Depends, the gas strut does get in the way of some things, but I'm hoping I can lower it down here or something. That, I believe, is the fuel pump resistor. Oh, sorry, yeah, resistor. That we need to bridge and delete, because essentially this will send between 8 volts to 12 volts, depending on engine load and stuff, to the fuel pump. But when you're installing a new pump, we've got a fuel pressure regulator to sort out any discrepancies on too much pressure, so we'll get rid of that. But I'm hoping that I can shift most of this wiring either back here and possibly tuck it out of the way inside this hole inside in the guard. So I'm going to pull the airbox out and give that a crack. Alright guys, I've just worked something out pretty cool, right? So ignore this, I've just temporarily bolted that just to see if it clears. But our washer bottle used to be bolted through that bolt and that bolt there, and it had like a little just U-bracket kind of thing to space the whole washer bottle out to here, so that it'd clear this gas strut, right? That was done because there used to be a dual battery under the bonnet or whatever. We don't have that dual battery because it's not needed and whatnot. And our second battery's up the back. And then I was just playing around seeing where I could fit this washer bottle now, because it didn't fit behind the airbox. With the airbox here, it just doesn't fit anymore. Playing around, and it turns out I found its original bolting position. I know I'm filming upside down, so I apologise for that. But that's now bolted in there. I'll put a third bolt in there, don't worry. But I just thought that was pretty cool. I'm hoping that I can fit these fat plugs underneath the airbox, and that will hide most of that. I'm thinking about cutting this out, because it's not plugged, never been plugged to nothing, and you can very clearly see someone's mucked around with it. So like, I don't think I'm ever going to use that. So one less thing to worry about if I am able to rip that out. But if I put the airbox in and this fits behind it, then I'm going to remake the bracket for this and get that secured better. So let me just chuck this in. So airbox didn't fit, but what I ended up doing was actually unplugging those 2 fat plugs, pulling the wiring back, and then feeding it into this first inner wheel well hole coming across here, and then I plugged it back in. Now there's enough slack for it just to sit inside here, and I still have my snorkel pipe coming out. Try to fit it again, doesn't fit under this plug, and this had corrie on it, sorry, and the corrie was too fat for the airbox to sit down, so I've untaped it. I don't even need this plug, so that one's going to get the same fate as these other Johnnies. I'll tape it up and I'll throw it in there, forget about it, out of sight, out of mind. Then I'm just going to loom tape it like I've done like here and throughout the car, because that's thinner and it will protect it. just enough, and then hopefully the airbox should be able to sit flat over that, and then that gets rid of the ugliness down here, puts the airbox in, has my washer bottle mounted, and then I just have to focus on tidying up this engine. Sorry, no swears. This accessory fuse block, which is easy enough. I'll have to, this plug here, I'll have to cut and extend it because the plug's that's the plug for it there. It doesn't really reach, which is fine. So I might extend it a pretty amount so it can come back through the inner guard as well. And then that way, I might even ditch this fuse block altogether and I'll just wire up a new big fat one right here. But as you can see, that looks a lot better now. Got this washer bottle all fully mounted in. Airbox is loosely bolted in, but exactly where I want it. Still got to put that in. But the airbox will have to come out once more for when I fix up this accessory fuse block, which I'm currently now just going to work on making a cardboard template so I can make a panel that can bolt in to here and then give me a nice big flat piece of steel or alloy or whatever I make it out of, just to mount all the fuse blocks to. It'll also allow me to hide all this other junk and excess wiring underneath it and keep it a bit tidier. So that's the next bit of thing I'm going to try and do. I'm planning to use those 2 bolt holes that were originally holding this in. So let me play and fandangle with that, and I'll come back to you once I've got a better update. All right, after about 10-15 minutes of arts and crafts, we've got a pretty rough gist to it. Let me put one end in first. Pretty rough gist of what I want. So nice straight with the engine, with the airbox. Come around here, just covers a bit of that corner. Doesn't need to. And then I'm gonna have to make a flat bar bracket to go to that bolt hole right there, just to strengthen it up. But that should hide, even if I just leave that there. Yeah. It'll hide a good chunk of it and give me enough space to mount my fuse block. Alright, so here's that template all made up. So that far back line there, that'll be a fold down return so that I can put a negative buzz bar right here. All our negative cables can go off to the back corner to be gone and forgotten. Then these 3 rectangles, they represent the fuse blocks that I'm gonna go with. I'll see if Bella, if we remember to put up a photo right here. Shabam. The blue system's 4-way fuse block, so they just have a common positive buzz bar and then 4 fuses, and then each circuit comes off one of those fuses, so you can run 4 circuits off of it. I'm going to run 3 of them because the stock fuse block that was here had accessories powered, ignition powered, and battery powered, so you can have accessories hooked up to either or. So I'm just, instead of trying to upgrade the wiring and running it back, I'm just going to put each one of those into a fuse block on its own, as they look like they're rated to about 20 amps each. And then all the loads that are getting split across these are only up to like 5 amps, if that. Like one of them will be, the most important one will be coil packs ignition feed, which will go on the ignition one, along with just a bit of ignition power to this boost solenoid. Both of them together shouldn't draw more than 20 amps, so they'll go on the ignition fuse block here, nice and neat. The accessories fuse block, I'm just going to put Bella's DRLs, so that way they just turn on when the car turns on, like we had it before. And then the only other accessory that's hooked up over this way is the two-way UHF. People used to call them 2-ways. UHF. So that's this giant cable, which is far larger than it needs, and we will replace that in the future when money allows so. But I'll just hook that up to constant power, because we just turn it off when we're not using it. That's no drama. It works fine in my car. If it does have an issue, we'll just switch it over to the ignition source, because once again, that's not going to draw more than 5-10 amps. As are the DRLs will draw next to none. So they should be all fine, and that will just keep this all tidy and organised. So I have, where that white tape is, like a bracket to go down to a threaded insert on the wheel well, and then the 2 bolts against the side here. So I'm just going to make this out of steel, because I have steel, and I can weld that. I don't have my welder here at the moment because I'll probably make this in one piece, this fold and that fold, and then this bracket I'll make separate and weld it so that way I can get it in its right position in the car and tack it up. But I'm going to pull this out, transfer it to metal, and start cutting that out in my wonderful workshop, aka Dad's garage, and just transfer this template over. Usually what I do is I outline this, but all these edges, because I've cut them, aren't straight, so I'll roughly outline it, come back through with a nice rule or ruler, a straight edge of some sort, and I'll square up all the edges, make them neat. I'll scribe down my fold lines as well. Normally I do like more technical work, I'll use a scribe, but this isn't really precise, so it doesn't need to be super precise, so I'm not bothering, and it's a lot easier to see text art. Got to cut this out, then I'll probably just do what I normally do, which is clamp this to the edge of the straightest edge of the bench, which is one of these sides. It's the side that I haven't cut. Probably this one. This one's the one that's like a machine edge, like factory edge. That one's been cut. Yeah, so I usually clamp it onto this side, bash it down. I actually got a hammer dolly set over Christmas, so looking forward to trying giving those a crack and using the hammers on that and the dollies to try and give it a nice square finish. There we go, there's the template all cut out. As you can see, like, squared that corner off because that was obviously just the piece of cardboard was cut, same as down here. Pretty much just overall tidied this thing up. So now, gonna bend this down, this one up, mark these holes centered height that way once it's folded, because I don't have a press or anything, I don't fold it perfectly in line. So I usually just make up for the margin of error that way. And then I should be able to just sand this all because it's got a bunch of, like, you can see there, like weld splatter and whatnot on it, which is no bueno. We don't want that. So this side's nice and smooth at least. So I'll just give this whole thing a nice scuff back. Then I'll make this piece, which will eventually get welded on about there-ish to go down to the wheel tub. As you can see, just using a little rule just to give it a crisper edge, so better clamping force, I should say, across the piece of metal. Usually I use a piece of like offcut like square tube, but this was right next to me. Just got my rubber mallet. Making sure the hammer is evenly across the whole way so it doesn't get a little bit of a warp in it. But also, once I've gotten it pretty flat, I'm trying to hammer up the top here just to tighten up that bend. But as you can see, like I was a little off with my clamping, so it's not perfectly square. But such is life. I don't think anyone's ever going to know. Everyone's going to be none the wiser. So just quickly went over it with the orbital sander just to, like I said before, get rid of all the slag and whatnot from having welding near it, and I cleaned up all the bends, because what you'll notice if you don't sand this, that all the mill scale that is on this gets really weakened here, and you can literally fart on it and it will start to peel off. So if you just painted straight over that, it would be no bueno, it'll eventually just rub right off. But yeah, it turned out alright. Just got to go back, mark where these holes are, because I sanded them off, which is fine, because I'd rather lay this back in the car and mark up the holes than try and use the cardboard template, because the holes are a bit how you going. So I'll be able to mark them much more accurately. So I've just cut up that bracket. I had to notch it a little to get around the accelerator cable, no biggie. Marked a line there, so that's just where I'm going to fold it, because I've decided I'll just fold this and then let it sit under there. That way I can weld around it a bit more, and just on the corner, give it a bit more strength. Not that I'm worried, because this will be more overkill than it needs to be. Being 1.6mm steel, I honestly could get away without a leg being there, because I can put, like, that's got some water in it, put that on there, can put that on there, could I don't have anything else that's heavy around here, but the idea is that it can hold more weight than what I'm planning to put on it. However, after going over corrugation and stuff, it will eventually bow and possibly crack. So I'd rather just put this in there and have a third point of mounting that will stiffen this up right and have no dramas in the future. So I'm going to pull this back out and then I will bend it up and see how she fits. Voila! It's hard to really see, but that's in there. Just need my friend to drop back my welder so I can tack this up in the car, pull it out, fully weld it. And now I've got to just try and find a buzz bar to fit here and then buy the 3 thingamajiggers. And then I'll start modifying or installing those, and I'll modify the harness to suit and then start terminating all of our accessories. Alright, so we're back, another day at it. I ended up ordering to quick and collect these Energive fuse blocks because they're rated to 100 amps. I won't be able to run 100 amps due to the wiring in the car. However, the wiring in the car is rated to about 20 or so amps, and I'm only planning to put 1 or 2 accessories on each of these, and each of these are going to have their own 20 amp cable feeding them. So this should suffice. This should make it a lot neater than the stock option, because currently the stock option only has 1 fused output for ignition, accessories, 12 volt constant. But I'm going to give it so I can put multiple things as I'm putting really low amperage loads on it. Like on the accessories, we'll be running DRLs, which is a couple amps if best. So I can put a 5 amp fuse in that. That means I still have 15 amps worth of room to play with on that. And the same for ignition. The ignition, all that's going to go on ignition will be my coil pack feed, which is probably 10 amp. Maybe I'll put a 10 amp fuse in that. Boost solenoid, which is also, I reckon, 5 amps, because it's a tiny as cable. Can't be drawn more than 5 amps because the cable won't let it. And then I'll just move the UHF over to constant power as we turn it off anyway. Yeah, so seeing as it's raining, I don't really want to be out in the car doing that. So I'm going to muck around with positioning these, drilling them, bolting them, and doing all that fun stuff. Alright, I've drilled out all the holes for the cables routes. So these ones will go into there, those ones go into there. This one, there's a finger gap there, so it's enough room. And that's nice and smooth, so I'm not worried about that. But that'll just go down that side. Then each feed for each fuse block will come up here. All the negatives will come up this corner here. Nice rounded edge there. So, but that should look a lot tidier than what was there before. And we'll hide all this mess that's currently there. So we're back. It's been a while, but finally got this bracket all painted up. Had a few issues with it, tiger striping. It ended up being the actual can of paint that I had. Swapped it out for a different one because I bought 2. Everything was sweet. Finally got these fuse blocks all bolted in now. Got nutserts on the back. Got little nuts for these. So I'll quickly chuck this in. It's a bit windy out here, so I don't know how much I'll film out here. Alright, I took a bit of finesse. I'd bolted this airbox in fully and plumbed it up the other day. And when I did that, I actually accidentally shifted it further back. So this didn't actually fit, so I had to undo it, redo all that. But now you can see I got my nice small air gap there. I've just quickly, loosely done up that. So now I've got battery, accessories, and ignition. And then that's the buzz bar. The buzz bar's still somewhere down underneath this thing that I'll get out shortly. But I'll quickly put that on. I'll test that everything still works like I should. And then I'll start hooking these up. So that's the boost T. These are, I don't even know what these are. These might be the DRLs. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. That's the UHF. I don't know. Probably not going to hook that up because Bella has a new one coming shortly and I'm going to reroute it, and that's pretty large cable for a UHF. The coil packs, I need to just bring that across and put that in as well. So let me do all that stuff. The coil pack ignition source feed, they're all terminated here, neutrals are there. So in theory now, I like to do this as I'm going through changing things. I just want to test, make sure that the car still actually works the way it should, because if it doesn't, then I know what's wrong. It's easier to fault find it way quicker. So See? This is why we do these things. Alright, those with a cluey eye would have realised that I'm a big dumb. You kind of need a, if I can get this in, need a fuse in there to bridge the circuit so that it would work. So now, excuse the wind, but in theory this should work. Just playing around with this side at the moment, trying to get the wiring on this side tidier than the other, like the other side. Before you had all these just clumped up there, sitting on here, and 90% of these plugs aren't even used. Lots of junk, essentially. And you can cut them out, but 80 series have these big holes into the behind the fenders here that you can really utilize to hide cables. And rather than rip stuff out that I don't know if I don't ever need or whatever, and make it irreversible, I'm just gonna put it all in through there. So you can see just there is the plugs, 1, 2, 3. So those will sit inside here, in there, run through that way and come out there. So all this stuff. All right, with great misery but success, I managed to get those in. And you can see, look, you can actually see the wheel well, which is nice. I've got to re-put this back in. I just had to move it out of the way. Still some wiring I can tuck in here, like this giant spaghetti snake. Say bye for now. Say see you later, guys. But makes it a whole lot neater. Then one of my next things I want to focus on, up after the fuel pump and stuff, or might be during at the same time, is fixing this abomination, because there's so many things that come on here and they're literally so short. Like, I have nowhere to pull it because it's so poorly routed. So I'm probably going to end up putting 2 buzz bars down here or something, moving all that to the buzz bars, and then having 2 nice cables coming up to the battery, so the battery looks pretty and all that goodness is back down here, a bit more hidden away.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh.
Hopefully today we'll sort out the fuel pump completely, or at least get it installed in the car. But as you can see, we've removed the middle row seats, which are just 2 bolts here, or 8 bolts total, 2 on the front brackets, because the rears come down and latch onto there because they fold forward. Wow.
This thing's never been touched.
Yuck.
Ew.
Yuck. This because factory plugs have like a bit of cloth to protect the plugs.
Yeah, right.
And that's just nasty as hell, too. We pulled out the fuel sender. That's the top, obviously. Unplugged it. Give it a clean before you pull it out, because otherwise, especially in a four-wheel drive, like you can see, that's after cleaning it in the car, pulling it out and cleaning it on the bench. There's lots of mud everywhere, and you don't want that in your fuel system, because all you're going to do is just clog your filters and injectors and everything else. Very generous clean while it's out. Bella can't handle the smell, so she's going to stay away. But essentially, what we're going to be doing is replacing this with a new hear that, Bella. Walbro Automotive pumps are now TI Automotive. I don't know, beats me. But essentially this doohickey's got to go sit in that spot, and then I just got to rewire this plug up, because we got to run bigger cables to it.
There was cables.
Yeah. Sorry about it. Wow. Now that's just riveted on. It's crazy.
Do we take this off and then replace it?
Turns out a lot of these, or all these are, instead of bolted on or whatever, have rivets on, which is a bit annoying because they're not reusable. And I've got to replace this with my new wiring, but which is the same size, but it's alright. That's fine, but I'm just gonna have to drill it, and I'll end up getting I'll probably do spring washer and normal washer over a nylock washer, just because I don't know how nylock withstands oil, but I know a spring washer is just metal, so be simpler. I'll have to nut and bolt these. So I'm probably going to get to drilling those out.
Put the drill them out.
Yeah, I have to drill them out because they're rivets.
Oh.
Toyota! Got the new wall bro installed, so it comes with a plug. The 80 series, they have like rivets that hold these terminations on, so I had to drill them out. I put a M5 nut and bolt as well as a spring washer in them. But yeah, got that mounted on, got the new filter mounted on. It's a bit dirty because I just literally sat it in the dirty mud that come out, but that's right. Clean. Just blew it all into Bella's face. But now, because it's a bigger fuel pump and draws more power, it's the shitter part, because we're going to have to rewire it all the way back to the relay. From what I understand and what I've read, the 80 series fuel relay is rated at 30 amps. So, and that's about what you, roughly how much we need to pull. So hopefully I can reuse the standard relay and just rewire the cables running from the relay to here and from the relay to the battery. But we'll rock with this for now. We'll go chuck this back in the car and then work out a game plan for rewiring that one cable. Hello.
Okay.
So obviously before we put this in, we want to clean all this mud that's out. You want to be very careful because you don't want to put it in the tank, because then it goes through your pump and ruins everything. Ruins your pump, ruins your filters. So
Not goody.
Just got a clean rag. And I'm just going to pinch up piece by piece.
You're like a professional cleaner.
Yeah, I have to be because you're so sloppy. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, that was uncalled for.
Did you clean it good? Ah, oh, shut up.
I'm trying to get in the tanky wanky.
Few moments later.
That was hell. That's all that came out of Bella's tank. 20 litre, 10 litre, 10 litre. Then 3/4 of two 20 litre buckets. And Dad's lawnmower. And there's still a little bit of fuel in there. So if you ever park your car up to do something like this, don't fill your tank the whole way up. Be smarter. Be smarter than that. Be better. Just drain this because I can't really see why, like, this fuel hanger isn't going all the way in, and I'm just trying to work out why. And I couldn't see in the tank, so now the tank's empty. I should be able to see.
The camera's a bit. Go on.
Use your greasy fingers, eh? So we tried test fitting this right, and wouldn't go in. Was stuck about 10 mil too high. And I bottomed this, like, I can't pull this hose off because it's stuck on there now. But the nipple stops about there, and I was butting that up hard against there, and it only just fits there. So it wasn't any longer, but then I sat the two filters side by side. It's this one behind it, and you can see the filter sits about 10 mil taller than the new one. So unfortunately, we can't use the new one. We have to use the old one. If it's an issue, we'll go buy another one, like a new OEM replacement.
Take two.
Take one.
Okay.
Now we're gonna try and get this dog back in. Oh, fuck me.
Squish her in there.
All about the angle of the dangle. Et voila! You should clean these bolts before you put them in. We're not doing that.
Oh, voila! It's back in. And
Wow, wow, wee, wow. Nice.
What the? Okay, it's back in. It's pretty. It's clean. We have to rewire.
We had to rewire your whole little thing.
Rewire the blue one.
And
I don't know which one. The blue one there.
Blue one and the black and white.
Yeah. So Matt's really good at wiring. So.
No, I'm not.
So Matt's gonna do that.
It should still work like this, but
We can start the car right now and drive it, yeah?
I don't know how much fuel's in it, but technically.
I was kidding, but...
Alright guys, we've decided that we're going to rewire the entire fuel pump relay system. I think it's a lot easier than modifying everything, because I know this will be relatively simple. I can't even open that one-handed, but what I've got is I've got some 6mm twin core cable, It's rated at over 30 amps for the run we're making. This is just a relay block base, so I can actually mount this up, terminate it, and that way if this relay does blow, which I bought right here, 40 amp relay, that relay does blow, I just pull it out and pop it back in like you would in your fuse block kind of deal. So it's essentially, if you have a look here, essentially what I bought is one of them, so I can just push a relay straight into it kind of deal. Looks a lot neater than just a regular relay, but that means I've got to get you out of the way. Right, here's the standard fuel pressure regulator relay, the stock one. I've got to pull this up, test it, and see what the signal source is from it, because I'm going to use the signal from this to turn on my new relay, which I'll probably just literally bolt in the exact same spot, and I'll push this one in there, but steal the signal from this, and then I'll run new positive negative to the battery and positive negative back to the pump, and then that's the gist of it. Very simple. So I might run the cable first just quickly so I can just have it sitting here ready to go, and then I'll start tampering with the old fuel pump relay. Alright, I finally have an update. I've been just churning away at this most of the day, not really recording because I've been trying to work it all out, but essentially this is my new fuel pump relay that I just got to tape up all nice and pretty. Got nice big cables. That'll burn that one a little, don't worry about that. Got nice big 6mm cables running from the battery to this, and then from this straight back to the fuel pump. I stole the 12 volt ignition source from the original fuel pump relay that was here to switch this. I've run 6mm cable underneath the body, and it goes up over the tank, and it's currently just coming out of here. So all I need to do now is, from memory, I'll just double check online, but the blue plug in here, the blue cable in here is the one that actually goes down to the pump. So I'm going to just cut it here, so that way I can, if I have to rejoin it in the future, I can just rejoin it there. Cut it here, and I'll either put a plug on it, or I might just hard connect it. I don't know what I can be bothered to do. But everything's working so far. The relay's all sweet. Coming up to this point, I'm getting 12 volts right back to here now once I turn the car on. So that's good. So I'm just going to quickly tape this all up, make it all nice and pretty, and then I'll work on that back end. Alrighty, that's it done. I decided just to hardwire it because the odds that we have to replace a fuel pump is pretty slim. I couldn't get a plug high enough amp rating quick enough, so I don't really care. And if I do have to ever replace the pump, I'll know next time to buy and order in a pump with a high enough amp rating. A plug with a high enough amp rating so I can replace that. And that way it's removable in the future, just to prove I've got the whole interior part, because in the next episode you'll see what we're doing. But as you can hear, fuel pump kicking on, tank's empty, so I don't really want to leave it running. But to conclude things up here as well, because I've been doing other things, I've actually got the 3-port boost controller all plumbed in. All the wastegate lines are run, like all your boost lines, everything. I've also got all the vacuum lines over here run, so I've got the fuel pressure regulator line, the map sensors all run, and hopefully, apart from this cover, this dizzy cap lid, everything in this engine bay is complete. Oh, and the airbox, air intake. So that's at least cool. So for the next episode, we'll be doing something more interior based, because we need to wait for my friend to help do that intake pipe. We'll be installing a can gauge, and we've got a new radio and UHF to chuck in, because the old ones are crap. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next one, and bye.